Hello everyone, welcome to Bedside Tabletop, and today we are going to be completing our solo playthrough for one of the missions of our solo campaign of Zaya, Legends of a Drift System, the space sandbox exploration game designed by Cody Miller and co-designed with Ira Fey. And again, in order to play this solo, you must have the expansion Embers of a Forsaken Star. Now we're going to pick up where we left off last time real quick. Let's take a look at our victory point tracker and see where we were at. Again, not in a very good position. The NPCs are leading us by 4 whole points. Now let's go over to our player board to see what we have. Alright, and as you can see, we still have our tier 1 ship, the Vagabond. We have the Vagabond's power, which again is the beta grid. We will be able to draw resource cubes from different places on the board depending on where we are. And we also have some outfits right here. We've got a couple of resource cubes in it. We have some cyber and some plasma. Our energy is all the way down to 1 because we did not get the chance to end on a planet at the end of our last turn. And if you remember, we did part of our private eye mission and we actually got a 3 credit reward for that. So we're going to be able to obtain that once we fly over to the Grinder. And just as a reminder as well, we've got this veteran title card which is out, which we probably won't be going for. We have this Signs of Life event which is out, which we can scan at dead planets in order to find signs of life, and they get revived and we can take our business phase on those planets. And we also have Humanitarian Aid, which wants us to deliver these different goods to an ice asteroid sector, which again, the Grinder is an ice asteroid sector, and we will get fame points for doing so. So we're trying to complete that objective, we're trying to complete our mission objective, and we're also just going to try and get as many fame points as possible. And also remember that since this is the solo campaign mode, this game has a specific rule we need to also complete in order to win, and that is Resurgent. We must be destroyed at least 4 times in this game. And we've been doing a pretty bad job at getting destroyed. We haven't been blown up yet, but hopefully this will be a more action-packed episode and we can get some ship-destroying action going on today. Alright, let's get back to the board and start our turn. Alright, and I will say I am a bit depressed today because I actually lost the player token color for yellow, and I'm always yellow, but I guess now I will have to be using the red... I guess now I will have to be using the red player token for our ship, which kind of sucks because I'm not a big red player guy, but who cares, it's just a color. I'll still be using yellow for our armed markers. It doesn't really matter that much. Alright, and let's start our turn. What I think I want to do is I definitely want to complete this private eye mission by flying all the way over to the Grinder. So what we're going to do is we're going to arm our movement outfit, our Halon engine, which if you don't remember allows us to roll a D8. So let's get that movement going. Oh, alright. Great first move of this part. We get to move 8 spaces. Alright, and it's pretty good because we can actually land on the mission space of the Grinder, which is what we need to land on in order to complete the mission. So let's go ahead, turn our ship around and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's go ahead and complete our mission. So we flew to the Grinder, we delivered our private eye intel, so what we're going to get is we're going to get 1 fame point. We're also going to get those 3 credits since we got some relatively good intel. So let's go ahead and move ourselves up on the fame point tracker, and now we are no longer space scum, we are asteroid worm. Which isn't that great because the NPC is a humble skipper, and that's definitely a better thing to be called. But let's see, what do I want to do now? Now, Loth is within range, and Loth definitely has those cell spaces that we can use to sell these cyber cubes. And again, when you sell cubes to Loth, they do not get produced on the economy board. And let's see, the NPC Scoundrel is not within range of Loth, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, so the NPC Scoundrel would not be able to get into Loth. I also, real quick, I just forgot that I moved into this ice asteroids path, so I do need to roll the d6 However, it wouldn't have had any bearing on my turn because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it wouldn't have been able to reach me anyway. But let's go ahead and move that ice asteroid. It's going to be a 4, so we'll move it 4 spaces along its path. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. Okay, and yeah, you know what? I do think we are going to go into Loth. Now, if we do go into Loth, we will become an outlaw, however, and that's going to make us a target for the Enforcer. But remember that the Enforcer is corrupt. So the Enforcer's not going to attack us on our turn if we pay the Enforcer 1 credit. So we can basically bribe the Enforcer. So yeah, I don't think it's that much of a risk going into Loth. So let's go ahead and arm our other movement with one of our armed markers. And hopefully let's go ahead and sell some cyber. That was a 5. Sorry, I accidentally knocked it over by picking up 5. We got 5 movement. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we can do is we can move into Loth. And then what I'm thinking is we use our impulse to pick up this exploration token that's on Loth, and then go into that cell space. Now we will have to move along the comet's path getting into Loth, but I think that's a risk that we are willing to take, and even if we do get destroyed, we will be 1/4 of the way to completing that resurgent objective. Alright, so let's take a risk. Let's move into the comet's path and get into Loth. So we are going to move 1 space right here, right into the comet's path. Let's roll that die. Oh dear. Okay, that is a 6. So the comet is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, and then crash right into us, and the comet is going to immediately destroy us. But again, that's alright. We are going to be 1/4 of our way to that resurgent objective. However, we are going to lose our cargo because of this, and that sucks. So let's go over to our player board and see what happens when you get obliterated. Alright, so when you get destroyed, when you get killed in Zaya, you lose all your cargo. So this is basically going to go out on the board. In the multiplayer game, other players can swoop by and pick up that cargo. However, the NPCs are going to be picking up that cargo. So it doesn't really matter where it goes out on the board. But I'll put that on the spot where we died. So we're going to gain all our energy back. We're going to rearm all of these markers. And when you die in the original game, you used to lose a turn. However, now, when you die, you're going to take damage equal to your ship's tier, and then you're going to be able to respawn back into the game on your next turn. So, we're going to take 1 damage, and we're going to put it anywhere on our ship. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put it into this hold right here. And I do want to say that we did have this shield outfit, but since the ice asteroid does not deal any damage, it just immediately kills you, we could not have used that shield to defend against it. And you also lose any missions that you were carrying upon death. So we're going to return this arms dealer mission back into the deck. However, that one seemed a little unlikely anyway, so it's not a terribly big loss. And we also get to keep our money from that other mission when we die, so it's not terribly painful. But yeah, so we're going to respawn on our next turn. That's the end of our turn right now. But let's go over to our NPCs. I think only one of the NPCs will be taking their turn since the other 2 don't have targets. That's going to be the merchant that will be taking its turn, and they also need to complete their die roll. So let's go back to the main board. Alright, so we're back to our main board. I just dropped all of that precious cargo that we had on this space right here, but again, it's going to be consumed by the NPCs. We also need to complete our system expanse. That still happens even if you get destroyed. So let's see, where do we want to expand our system? I think we want to go ahead and expand our system right here, see what comes out near Zaya, Calcus, and Ruins of Dromoth. So let's go ahead and draw a tile from the tile stack. We're going to be matching it up to this little T symbol right here. Alright, and let's see, what do we get? We get Dorian 5, which I do believe, yes, Dorian 5 is part of the trade route for our merchant. So our merchant will be moving to Dorian 5, and it is a neutral planet where we can buy Terra, and that's good, buying Terra at Dorian 5, because that actually helps with this humanitarian aid event card that we want to complete. And ouch, what also hurts is we can sell Cyber on Dorian 5. But let's go ahead and add Dorian 5 to the board. We're going to add out an exploration token. And that's the end of our system expanse. Now let's go to our NPC's turns. So our Scoundrel and our Corrupt Enforcer, they are only going to target players, so they're not going to target one another, so they won't be doing anything on their turn. However, the Merchant is going to move. So the Merchant already has 1 credit on its card. It's going to target the next planetary space on its trade route, which again, that's going to be Kemplar 2. So it's going to move to the target. It's going to earn a d6 times 1,000 credits. And if at least 5,000 credits are aboard, it's going to spend 5,000 for 1 fame point. And I do realize I've been calling these 1 credit. It's actually 1,000 credits, but I mean, it's still the same thing interchangeably. So I'm sorry for that confusion. So let's go ahead and move our Merchant to this cell space on Kemplar 2 over here. It has a movement of 9. I didn't count out the spaces, but maybe I do believe it's going to reach that space on its turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it only needed 7 movement to get onto the cell space on Kemplar 2. And it's going to roll a d6. Again, it gets the maximum amount of credits it could possibly get. So that stinking Merchant is going to gain 6 credits. So we'll go ahead and put it on the card, and then we're immediately going to sell these 5 credits so the NPCs can gain a fame point. Alright, so the NPCs are going to move up. They're going to be at 6 now, so we get to draw a title since they are on the 6th title space. Alright, and this is going to be Economist. Take a sell action that generates 4 or more cargo cubes of a type that is in demand. So what does it mean when a type is in demand? So on the economy board, if any of these spaces runs out of cubes, you're going to put a credit on that empty space, and that space is now going to become in demand. If you ever sell a resource that would then generate that cube on the economy board, you gain the credits, and that resource is no longer in demand. So let's say, for example, there was no Terra on the board. You would then put a credit on the Terra space, and if you then sold Cyber and produced Terra, you would then gain that credit, and the Terra would no longer be in demand. And so this would be saying, for our example, if you sold 4 or more Cyber and created 4 Terra, and the Terra was in demand, you would then gain the Economist title card. I don't really see that happening in this game since the NPCs are pretty close to ending it actually, but that is another title that you guys should look out for. Alright, but the NPC turn is going to be over, and now we go to the most nerve-wracking part, which is going to be the end of round NPC action, and they are going to get a lot of modifiers, guys, because not only did the Merchant gain 1 credit, but we also have all of these resource cubes that we just dropped out on the board, and these are each going to add +2 to that d20 die roll. So that is going to be +8 because those were 4 resources times 2, that is going to be +8. So they will be gaining at least 1 fame point on their turn, which sucks. So we want them to roll as low as possible. Alright, let's go. Oh, alright. So they rolled a 2. So they have a die roll of 10. And a die roll of 10 means they only gain 1 fame point. That was the ideal outcome. So now they are an Adept Captain, and we gain 1 of the event cards since they are on a purple space. So let's read this. Alright, ooh, wormholes. Okay, so this means that all spawn points out on the board, again, spawn points are these small white numbers that are on the tiles. This means that all spawn points are now connected to one another, so you can travel between spawn points. However, whenever you travel between spawn points, you must roll a d20, and if you roll a 1, all of the wormholes collapse and you don't use that rule anymore. And this, I do believe that NPCs will also be using the wormholes, so we're going to have to adapt our strategy to that. And I also forgot, since they passed that halfway fame point threshold, their stats actually get stronger. So now we're using the stats B-side. They get more movement, they get more attack, they get more defense, and they become harder to kill. I think this is the absolute worst that I have ever lost a game of Xayah. Again, nobody said that I was great at playing this game, but I will say that this is the most painful, most crushing game I have ever had. Alright, but now it's our turn, so we're going to spawn into the galaxy. So let's go ahead and roll this d20. And we're going to spawn at 6 if 6 is out, or anywhere that's closest to 6. So let's see. So on the board, we do have 6. 6 is at Lunari. The way you can tell this is 6 and not 9 is because it is facing the orientation of the title. So let's go ahead and spawn our ship at 6, and then we can take our turn. Alright, so we have a clean slate. We have no cargo cubes. We have no missions. What the hell are we going to do? I think we are going to go hard for this humanitarian aid card. We want Terra, we want 2,000 credits, and we want a shield outfit. Now we do have 2,000 credits, we do have a shield outfit that we can sell, and if we go to Dorian 5, we will also gain Terra. And since our wormholes are out, we can use those to get as close as possible to the grinder, even though the grinder does not have a spawn point on it. So we start out right on the spawn point 6. If we get a bad roll, we can move over to the spawn point 4 and get right into Dorian 5. And so I think we're going to fulfill this objective to its highest possible capacity, because that's the fastest way that we're going to be able to gain fame points. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and arm our marker and then set out into the vastness of space. So we armed our Halon engine. Let's go ahead and roll our D8. Okay, and that sucks. We only get 1 point of movement. But we do have wormholes out, so we can use spawn points as movement. So since we are on spawn point 6 right here, we're going to use our 1 movement to move over to spawn point 4 on Dorian 5, and then we must roll a d20 to see if the wormholes collapse. And we rolled a 14. The wormholes do not collapse, so we can continue moving them. Now, our impulse is only 3 spaces, so it won't get us to that buy spot on Dorian 5. So let's go ahead and arm our movement marker again. 7. That is awful, because then that extra movement gets discarded. We should have gotten 7 on that other turn. That's not awesome. But I think what we can do with that 7 is we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pick up some missions, and then go to that sell space on Dorian 5 with our 7th movement and buy some Terra. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on a mission space, so let's go ahead and pick up some missions. Let's see, we've got a cargo mission that wants us to deliver stuff to Tig, but Tig isn't out yet. We have another private eye mission that wants us to go to Taftur and then to Kemplar 2. Taftur is not out, but Kemplar 2 is out on the board. And then we have a research mission, which wants us to go to the Deltas Gate and then to Pelmont. Deltas Gate and Pelmont are not out, so I think the most reasonable mission that we're going to pick up is this private eye mission. So we just want Taftur to come out. We're hoping for it to appear. And again, we do have that M-Comp computer, so we can keep 2 missions. But the other missions didn't seem that appealing to me. I want to stick with that private eye mission. But now let's go ahead and use our 7th movement to go on this buy space of Dorian 5 and pay 1,000 credits to get 2 Terra. Alright, so we're going to spend 1,000 credits. We've got 3 credits left in our ship. 1,000 credits gets us 2 Terra, so we're going to grab Terra from this economy board. So there's only 1 Terra that we could potentially buy in the future. And then we're going to put our Terra inside of this cargo pod right here. Alright, and let's now go ahead and set out to the grinder. So let's go ahead and arm our Halon engine for the last time on our turn. Hopefully we roll high, but every time I say that, we get a 1, and this time is no different. We get a 2. That sucks. So we're going to move 1, 2. Alright, we have a predicament, because this scoundrel NPC is definitely going to come for us on its turn. And it has 9 movement, so it definitely will be able to reach us if we are right here. Now, we do have our impulse token, which is 3, but the spawn point is over here, so we can't move to that spawn point and then travel to another spawn point to get as far away from it as possible. And since NPCs also use spawn points, the scoundrel can just use this spawn point right here and get to us immediately. So this wormhole card actually made the game significantly harder for us, which kind of sucks because it's already been pretty hard. But you know what? Let's see. The scoundrel's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they can move into Dorian 5. However, again, they have blasters, not missiles. So they must be directly adjacent to me in order to destroy me. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use my impulse token. And I'm going to move 3 back into this mission space. I'm hopefully going to draw more missions. And this scoundrel, even though it will be able to enter Dorian 5, it will not be able to attack me. Because again, it's going to move, and then if it's not in range, it's going to move again. However, it does not attack again. So we will be safe from that scoundrel this turn. So we're going to use our impulse to move 1, 2, 3 back onto this mission space. Now let's go ahead and draw some missions. All right, we've got a lot of cargo missions. We have this cargo mission that wants us to deliver Terra and such to Ruins of Drelmoth. And actually, since we'll only be delivering 1 Terra to the grinder and Ruins of Drelmoth is right over here, we might have an extra Terra left over to go to Ruins of Drelmoth for this cargo mission. So this seems pretty likely, but let's go ahead and see what other missions we got. We have another cargo mission to deliver Cyber Hollow and Ember to Kalakis. And then we have a shuttle mission. We want to go to the Deltas Gate and then to Neo Damascus. But I think this one is way more likely, this cargo mission of delivering Terra to Ruins of Drelmoth, so we're going to go ahead and keep that mission and discard the other 2. Alright, and we did end on Dorian 5, so we could conduct our business phase if we wanted to, but honestly there's nothing on the business phase I want to do, and our energy is all recharged. So what I want to do is just directly go to the status phase. We do not freeze, claim fame, or draw titles. We will refresh our impulse though, and we are going to arm our markers. So we'll spend 3 energy to arm those 3 markers that we used on our turn. And then we're going to go over to our system expanse turn. Alright, and the board is just getting larger. But what I think is we want to expand our system near the grinder, since we're going to be going to the grinder. And we're going to expand it at this side right here, this little pitchfork side. So let's go ahead and draw a tile, see what we get. Alright, and we get another ice asteroid. This time we get Blench. That's a weird name. So we're going to match it up to this side of the grinder. Alright, and Blench also has an ice asteroid, so we're going to grab one of these ice asteroids and put it on out. That's kind of neat that by a random chance these 2 ice asteroid sectors are together. I quite like that in this game. I think it tells a great story because we can say this sector of the galaxy over here is the ice sector. Alright, but now it is going to be the worst part of our turns, which is the NPC turns and then that stupid NPC die roll. The scoundrel is going to be the usual suspect. If the player is innocent, it will move to us. Yes, we are innocent, so it's going to move to us. It is going to move to us with a movement of 9, and then if it's in range, it will attack and then try and move back to Loth. And what I realized when I was talking before about the scoundrel not being able to reach us, we do have our wormholes out, which is going to allow the scoundrel to not have to move 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So yes, I do believe the scoundrel will be getting to us this turn. So the scoundrel is going to turn around, move 9, 1, 2. It's going to move into this wormhole right here, and then it's going to move 3 into this wormhole right here on 4. But let's also roll the d20 because we need to see if the wormholes collapse or not. 19. The wormholes do not collapse, so we are all right. So it moved 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now it's directly next to us, and it's going to initiate combat. Alright, let's get up close and personal for this combat. So what the scoundrel is going to do is he's going to attack us with 2 D12 blasters. And this is going to be a combined D12 roll. So it's going to roll the D12 twice and then add up those numbers. Now again, we can defend, but again, a D12 is pretty darn high, and it's going to combine 2 of those rolls. So we want it to roll painfully low. Alright, so let's see what the scoundrel does. The scoundrel rolls a 5, okay, and then we're going to add 5 to a 4. Okay, so that's 9 incoming damage that's going to be directed right at us from the scoundrel. Now, let's go to our board and let's see if we can defend. So thankfully we armed markers in our status phase, so we can use markers on our Targi shield right over here, and we're going to roll that D6 twice and then combine those 2 rolls into one big shield blocking roll. So hopefully we get something that will mitigate that 9 damage that will be coming right towards us. Alright, let's roll big, baby. Okay, we get a 2 plus 3. Wonderful. That's going to be 5 shield. That is not wonderful. I was being sarcastic. That sucks. Alright, but we do only take 4 damage, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab 4 damage and then place it out on our ship. Now, we definitely do not want to place damage on this space right here of the cargo pod, because if any damage gets placed there at any time, the whole cargo pod is going to fall off since it's attached to our ship. But we can put our damage right here and be fine with that. Then I think we're also going to put our damage onto the shield, because we're not going to be attacked again this turn. The scoundrel is only going to make 1 attack attack and then try and move back to Loth. And then let's go ahead and put a damage on our M comp, which means that we are going to have to reduce the capacity of our mission since the M comp is damaged and not working. So which one do we want to get rid of, the private eye or the cargo? I think we're going to get rid of the private eye since that relies on Taftur coming out, and the cargo just wants us to deliver to the ruins of Dromoth. Alright, we have one more damage, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it on this shield outfit right here and disarm this active marker since we're going to rearm it anyway on our next turn. However, that means we will have one less armed marker on our next turn, so we're going to have to play it a bit more safe. Just like we've been doing for most of this game, and has that been working out for us? No, but you guys are just going to have to deal with it. Alright, pretty brutal, right? And now, the scoundrel is going to move towards Loth. So it's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, spend 6 to teleport over to the wormhole on Loth. Let's go ahead and roll that d20 to see if the wormhole collapses. And we rolled a 19 again. The wormhole stays intact. And now it's got 3 more movement left. 1, 2, 3. It's going to try and head back into that entrance for Loth on its turn so it can hide out there. The scoundrel is really stupid because it's like that one playground bully that would hit you and then run into the girls' bathroom or something so you couldn't go in and hit them back. Alright, so our corrupt enforcer is not going to take any actions because we are not the target of his corruption. But our merchant is going to move, however, to the next available planet on its trade route. And let's see, the merchant is currently at Kemplar 2, so that means it's going to move to Neo Damascus, then Lunari, then Dorian 5, then Azure. And it has a stupid amount of movement. It has 15 movement, so let's see where it gets to. So Neo Damascus is not out on this board, so it's going to move to Lunari, which is in the next space of its trade route. So it's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to use that wormhole. It's going to use 1 movement to move over to that space on Lunari, which is 5 movement. Now let's roll to see if our wormholes collapse. And we got a 6. They do not collapse yet. But it's just going to move right over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's go ahead and roll this d6. Hopefully they get something like a 3 this turn, because if they gain a 3, then they'll have exactly 5 credits on their card. They will buy a fame point, but they won't have any leftover credits to add modifiers to their die roll. So please, let's get a 3. 2. Alright, so the merchant's going to gain 2 credits. They will not be buying a fame point on their turn, but they are going to get a +4 modifier to that d20 roll at the end of the NPC's turn, and that's going to ensure that they will get a fame point. But alright, let's go to said roll already. We are not going to add any modifiers for discarded cubes, but we will add 2 + 2s since the merchant got 2 credits. So let's go ahead and roll that d20. Hopefully they get low again, so they only gain 1 fame point on their turn, because they're already beating us by enough. And they roll a 10, so they're going to get +4 to that 10, and that is 14, so that is right on the precipice of the 4 to 14 range, which would only nab them 1 fame point. Thank goodness we get 1 more turn in this game, so they're going to move only 1 fame point into the 8 fame point space. Oh, and I just realized we did not complete our system expanse, but it really wouldn't have made any difference as to what the NPCs would do. I'm sorry about that. So let's go ahead and complete our system expanse right over here, right next to Burning Horse, because maybe we can get a spawn point that's a lot closer to Blench, since Blench is an ice asteroid, and that's also where we want to deliver our humanitarian aid stuff. So we're going to match up this pitchfork symbol, and what do we get? Well, lo and behold, we get Neo Vostok, which is an ice asteroid. So let's go ahead and match it up to this side right here. Here's basically what it looks like. Our board is getting way too big for our camera over here. Like I said, this game has quite a huge footprint. But yeah, that's good, because that means if we reach this spawn point on Dorian 5, we can go to this spawn point on Burning Horse, since our wormholes are still intact, and then move on to this mission space on Neo Vostok. However, since Neo Vostok came out, we are going to be also putting another ice asteroid on it, the bane of our existence. So maybe it would be more safe going to the grinder through this 6 wormhole right over here, because this ice asteroid could not possibly hit us if we moved into its path. So let's maybe go to this one if we get a good enough roll. But yeah, now it's our turn. We're going to arm our Halon engine. And as we're arming our Halon engine, I also want to point out that we have 2 disarmed markers, since we spent some markers getting this shield up and running. So this should actually be on the disarm space. We can't use that because our status phase comes before the NPCs. So we have 2 armed markers we can use. Let's arm our Halon engine and see how much movement we gain. Please let it be something high. I've been kicked down way too much this game. 6. Okay, that's decent enough. Let's go over to the board and move. Alright, so with our 6 movement, we can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go right into that wormhole. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's see. Our impulse would get us 1, 2, 3 over here, right in the comet's path. I don't think history is going to repeat itself, so we're going to play it safer and go to this wormhole right here. We're going to use our impulse token. Actually, you know what? Let's make a movement roll, since that kind of guarantees us a little more movement. So hopefully we're going to roll big. So let's see what we get. We get a 5. So we're going to jump through this wormhole. Let's roll a d20 to see if our wormholes collapse. 18, our wormholes do not collapse. So we spent 1 movement going from those wormholes. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be all of our 5 movement. And then we're going to move our ice asteroid. However, I did not stop on this ice asteroid path because it wouldn't have hit us anyway. And look, it moves 2 spaces. 1, 2. Alright, so now we are on the mission space for the grinder, and that means we can fulfill our humanitarian aid objective. So let's get cracking. Since this game is looking a little hopeless already, we're just going to be little silly geese, and we're going to fulfill all the objectives for this humanitarian aid event. Alright, so what do they need in terms of humanitarian aid on the grinder? Well, they're going to need 2,000 credits. Well, we've got that in the bag, so we'll put 2,000 credits here. That's 1 fame point we're going to get. They also need any shield outfit. Well, hey, my shield outfit sucks. You can take this guy right here. And let's keep that damage on our ship just to be fair. And then they want 1 Terror Cube. So we'll grab a Terror Cube from here, put it on the Humanitarian Aid event card, and that means we are going to get the full 3 fame points that we can gain from this event card. Alright, and that means that boosts us pretty high all the way up to the 5 space. So we're finally halfway to our victory points, even though the NPCs are just 2 spaces away. Alright, and it still is our turn. We can use our impulse to move. In fact, I don't see why we wouldn't use that. And what we're going to try to do is get over to that Ruins of Dromoth. Now, that NPC scoundrel is definitely going to try and get on our butt. But you know what? Let's just have some fun and hope that he rolls really poorly. So, we're going to use our impulse over here. Now, there's no way that we can get to a wormhole. We can try to cross this planetary border into Lunari if we would like. We would basically roll a d20 and we would be looking for an 18 to 20. On an 11 to 17, we become an outlaw with a 1 credit bounty. But that means that the scoundrel won't be targeting us anymore and our enforcer will start targeting us. And again, the enforcer can actually be bribed if you are an outlaw. So you know what? We're going to be a little silly. We're going to turn around and we're going to use our 3 impulse to try and cross this planetary border and grab this exploration token. And also, if we do make it, this scoundrel won't be able to get into the lawful planet because scoundrel never goes into the lawful planets. So let's move. We're hoping for anything higher than 10. At least we won't be able to immediately die. We're going to move 1 right into the comet's path. Now let's roll this d6 to see if it'll hit us, but I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it cannot possibly hit us on this turn. But it's going to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it gets pretty close, but no dice. And then we're going to try to move into that exploration space right there. So let's roll the d20. Oh my goodness. Look at that. We got a 20. We got a nat 20. And again, that's good because one way to get fame points is to actually roll a nat 20 just by sheer luck. So already we go up on the fame point track. So we are now no longer a humble skipper, we are a junk pilot. Which somehow that sounds worse than being a humble skipper, but alright. And that means we successfully crossed this planetary border into Lunari, and we get to grab this exploration token. So what do we get? Whoa, all right, we gain a Terra cube. So let's go ahead, grab a Terra cube and put it into our hold. Okay, we're gonna stick this into our hold right here, and sadly we do need plasma in order to get those 4,000 credits for our cargo mission. However, if we sell at any place that needs Terra, like Azure does out on the board, we can get a fame point from that. But since we ended our action phase on Lunari, let's go ahead and go to the business phase. So we may recharge energy for free. We may repair damage by paying credits equal to the tier of our ship, so we can spend this 1 credit right here and get rid of all this damage on our ship. We can buy and sell outfits. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to sell this M-Comp outfit right here for 1 credit. And then I'm going to use this 1 credit in order to buy our shield outfit back. Okay, our shield outfit goes right there. And then there's nothing else that we want to do on our business phase. So let's go to our status phase. We don't freeze, we don't claim fame, we don't draw titles, we do refresh our impulse, and now we can arm markers. And I do think we want to arm every single one of our markers that we have. So let's spend 1, 2, 3, 4, and then push all these up into the armed space. Alright, and that is the end of our turn, but let's not forget the system expanse that I keep forgetting that happens in the solo mode. So we're going to go ahead and why don't we expand near the ruins of Drillmoth, since we are going to want to be delivering the cargo to there. So we're going to expand on this side right here. Let me push this up so you guys can see better. And let's go ahead and draw a tile. We will be matching it up to this circular symbol right here. And we have a nebula, Lower Stratus. That's kind of a weird name for a nebula, but let's go ahead and put this guy right down here. And we can harvest plasma at Lower Stratus, which actually would help us complete our cargo mission right here if we delivered both Terra and plasma to the ruins of Drillmoth. So maybe we might want to go into the Lower Stratus and then deliver at the ruins of Drillmoth. But let's go ahead and put our exploration token out there, and then it's going to go to the NPC turns. So our scoundrel is going to target us. We crossed that planetary border and we made it through all safe, so we do not get a bounty, so we are still innocent. It's going to target us. It's going to move 9 spaces towards us. If it's in range, it will attack, then move to Loth. However, it's not going to be in range because we are in a lawful planet, so it will never go inside there, but it's still going to move. It's going to move 1, 2, 3 into this wormhole here, and then 4 into that wormhole on Lunari. Let's see if the wormholes collapse. 4. They do not collapse just yet, but it's going to move right into that entrance into Lunari. So it's staring us down from the inside. But yeah, so that's the scoundrel's turn. We are not an outlaw, so this corrupt cop is definitely not going to go for us. It's kind of weird. I feel like the corrupt cop would go for us no matter what, but I guess not. Alright, and then Mr. Moneybags over here, Mr. Investor. Mr. Investor is currently on Lunari, so that means he wants to go over to Dorian 5. So he's going to move 15 spaces over to there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He moves into that wormhole. 6 moves over to the wormhole on Dorian 5. Let's see if our wormholes collapse. 10. They do not collapse just yet. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He ended on the cell space of Dorian 5, so we're going to roll that d6. See how much money Mr. Moneybags gains. And we're looking for a 1. We got the 1! Alright. So Mr. Crypto Moneybags over here is going to gain 1 credit, and that means that he has 5 credits on his space, which does mean that he gains a fame point, but he will not be getting any added bonuses to the NPC's die roll at the end of the turn. So potentially, if they roll low enough, they will not be able to hit that 10 fame point threshold and win the game. But let's go ahead and move the NPCs up. It is getting a little dicey. They are on spot 9, so that means we draw a title card. And this title card is the Gambler. Successfully salvaged 7 times in 1 turn. So salvaging, you're going to do that on any space that tells you to salvage. And basically you're taking a risk when you salvage. You're risking damage, or you can gain the benefit for salvaging. So let's go ahead and put that right off to here. And that's the NPC's turn. Now we are going to do the most nerve-wracking part of this playthrough, which we are going to roll the NPC die. Now we do not want the NPCs to get anything higher than a 3. So we want a 1 to 3 roll for the NPCs. So let's go. Hopefully we get lucky here. I hope my dog hair makes this roll more lucky for us, please. Okay, that wasn't... that just bounced off the side there. Oh man, alright, well, they got 16, which means they gain not only 1, but they gain 2 fame points. Wah, wah, wah. So that means that they immediately reach that fame point track right here on the 10 space, and they win the game. The NPCs beat us! To be fair though, I really wasn't optimizing all the different ways that you can gain fame points in the game. My ship was still the tier 1 ship, we didn't get to upgrade it, and we really only died once for our resurgent objective. But I was hoping there would be this funny sprint towards the end where we would try and kill ourselves as much as possible. But I guess it wasn't meant to be. I mean, the NPCs do pretty reliably gain fame points on their turn, and there's really not much you can do to stop them. Even if you do destroy them on your turn, they will still roll that d20 die. So it is a pretty quick race. Alright, and that is the end for this game in the Xayah solo mode campaign. What you're going to do at the end of the game is if you lose or if you win, you still get an upgrade for your next game. So let's take a look at this upgrades card. And so what the deal is here is you must take the leftmost bonus first before you take any of the rightmost bonuses. So we can get +1 to each engine, +1 to each shield, missile, and blaster, +3 to impulse, +3 to all mission rolls, 8 energy to rearm your action markers. Tier 1 and 2 ship abilities don't cost any energy, and you get 1 extra cargo cube from the supply when you buy. So they're pretty good upgrades. I think we're going to take +1 to each shield, missile, and blaster use. So the next game I play of this, I'll be able to go more on the offense, go more on the defense, be stronger against those NPCs, because being scared of the NPCs and constantly running away from them really limits the amount of fame points you can get on your turn, because you're going to want to be using that movement in order to get as far away as possible. So that's not ideal, and I think I played suboptimally in that way. I should have gone a little more on the offense when it came to those NPCs. But yeah, so the next game I play of this, I will get +1 to each shield, missile, and blaster use, so that's pretty cool. And in the solo campaign mode, you have this tracker on the back of the sheet, and you're basically going to write the date. You're going to write what goal you completed because you want to complete a different goal each time. You're going to write the score at the end. You're going to write the ship that you used because you want to use a different ship for each episode that you play in the solo campaign. And you're going to say what upgrade you gained at the end. So yeah, that sucks. We were so close to completing our cargo mission, but we couldn't complete it. We also had an exploration token. If we gained another, we would have been able to turn 2 of those in for a fame point and at least gotten a little higher on the fame point track, so it didn't look so much like I was a bad player. But, I mean, sometimes in Xayah, things don't work out. It is a dice-driven game, as you guys see. There is quite a bit of luck involved. You're going to be doing some naked die rolls in this game. Now, this might be the final playthrough I do for the solo mode of Xayah. I don't know if I will be doing some in the future, but I do want to get a review out for the solo campaign mode once I've played it enough. And I do also want to get a general review out for Xayah Legends of a Drift System. So hopefully we'll see that in the future, and you can join me for that video once it comes out. Alright guys, I hope you all have a good night. I hope you guys get some good rest tonight. Again, this is Richard, this has been Bedside Tabletop, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.